What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Michael Gascon here, and my model of the day is Surprise. Surprise is a 9-year-old quarter horse gelding, and he likes to eject those seat people. He likes to buck people off. And today's video is going to be how to break through resistance. And whenever we're talking about resistance, we're always talking about resistance in the head, them not wanting to give that up on a horse that's extra resistant or over resistant, especially the horses that have gotten the better of people, who have bucked people off, who have issues. The trick to working any horse that is super resistant is to have a systematic approach where you're just systematically trying to break them down. So this is a kid's horse actually, and he just likes to dump her whenever he wants, but he's very heavy in the head. And today I'm working him with a snaffle with shanks, but you can work with a halter, with a snaffle, with a curve bit. Really doesn't matter what you're working with. What matters is the approach. So automatically, like you see me pick up the reins, and automatically he does the opposite. He wants to pick up his head if you pull back to yourself. If you pull left, if you pull right, there's just a heaviness there. So the key to this is the reps. So watch as we work through his resistance. Anytime we put something on a horse that's heavy, that you could be a buck risk, just start off to one side, and what I love to do is slide my inside hand down, and every time I get him off center, I consider that a repetition. So I want to get him where he is so soft that anytime I find his face, that he is just trying to get there, and no matter what's outside or what's going on, that he's just trying to follow that rein. Right? I want to get rid of that. Imagine the very beginning of a ride, when things are calm and quiet and he's his most sensitive. If he's heavy now, just wait till we get in motion, he's going to be really heavy. Whenever I'm here working at the Gascon Horsemanship Academy and I'm working with my students, for a long time we were wondering, hey, my students have the same ideology I do, the same beliefs. Why do I get more results at times? Why do my results come quicker? Well, I figured it out. They had the same ideology, but they weren't just sitting here calmly and quietly and just repping it out. What I mean is, if I have a horse that's sticky to the left, I might flex him to the left 50 times. What I'm saying is, do it until the horse no longer sucks at doing it, until they're soft and easy. There we go. See, if I can slide my hand down the rein, there we go. Right there in between, he's a little sticky. The other thing that I want you to make sure when you're starting to break that resistance, left and right is where we start. The next thing I want to see is that you start using two hands. So right there, I'm trying to flex him to the right and release. Whenever we flex one side, like so, that is horsemanship flexing. That you should have on day one of riding a horse. That just gets you left and right. But by Surprise's stage here, we want to be able to flex with two hands. Two hands means finish flexing, or flexion for collection, however you want to say it. All that means is that he doesn't stick his nose up in between. He really would like to stick his nose up and root up in the air. Everything that this horse does, and everything that any horse does, bucking, running, rearing, is what's not beneficial to us. Well, a horse is the strongest they can be whenever they have their head up into the center. Well, if their strength is up into the center, then our control is down into the side. So we want to make sure, there we go, especially on this right side here. Notice how I lock my left hand in right to that saddle. There we go, and I look for him to give. And I look for him to give, and I look for him to give, and I look for him to give. I'm asking as softly as I can, but as hard as I have to. And I'm looking for him to look for that release. And he should just be butter in my hands. There we go, now we're getting somewhere. Whenever I drill on one side, what does that mean? That means he's sticky on one side, and I flex and I flex and I touch and I release and I touch and I release to one side. Oftentimes, whenever you switch, they'll get stiff again in the center, because that's where they're the strongest, is in the center. So once you work one side, then you come around here and you work the other side. We really want to be paying attention to what their head does whenever it goes from side to side, from one side to the other. There we go. So that time he didn't pull on me. When we switch from one side to the other, there we go. Another exercise that I really like to do to break a resistant horse, to get them soft and easy, is I'll move him off and circle him to the inside. And you guys have seen this in the Respect series. Circle him, lock my inside hand in here, sit back, use my outside rein to back him up. If he was to try to rear up, if he was to try to have an issue, I could just let go of that inside rein. He turns around to the right, and then I use my outside rein again to back him up again. And then I ask him to turn around to the right, and then I use my outside rein again to back him up. What this does really good is it puts a horse in a position that's very hard for them to argue. It'd be very hard for him to rear or flip over or buck or run away because I already have him off center. This guy is so big, so strong, such an amazing specimen that if we let the ball be in his court, he's proven time and time again that he's willing to try to eject those seat the rider. So anytime that we have a communication with him or a conversation with him, we want the ball to be in our court. Circle him to this side, back him up crooked, waiting for him to come off of that bright. There we go. Very nice. Look at how he's starting to carry his head down. That's what we want to see. All right, so we've got him from point of the shoulder to point of the shoulder. Pretty good. Now we want to see if we can move his butt. So I'm going to slide this rein down the hand. Hey. There we go. So this is not a one rein stop. This is disengaging the hindquarter. This is a fancy way of saying moving his butt. I want to be able to slide this rein down and pick it up. The only way for him to get a release on his face is to move his butt. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. A big, strong guy like this, he would like to lock his head in wherever he wants to, wherever he feels comfortable and confident. We don't want him to feel confident taking my rider for a ride. So we want him to be completely loosey-goosey with his face. Notice how I don't leave my saddle to find his face. One hand brings me the rein. I look, I'm turning my body and my torso towards his butt and pulling it around and releasing him again. What differs from this and a one rein stop, here I'm looking at his butt and I'm trying to ask him to move. A one rein stop, I would be looking straight. Reach back here and touch him on the butt if he doesn't want to move. There we go. Now we'll come right back to our third button and ask him to bring his face towards his shoulder. There we go. These are the three buttons that we're really going to be working through to get a resistant horse soft. Look how he's starting to turn into butter in my hands here. He looks like a trained horse now. Whenever I'm moving him around, between backing him up crooked, moving his butt, and flexing him from shoulder to shoulder, using those three methods, those three approaches to soften him, he's starting to act like a trained horse. The other way that you get resistance out of a horse is ask them to go faster. He started getting softer. He started getting softer at a walk. So now I'm asking him to trot. And I notice there's a little stickiness here on this right side. So I'm going to give him his face, slide my hand down, ask for a little flex to the right, give him his face, slide my right hand down, ask him to give to his shoulder again. And I'm going to do this repeatedly until he softens. And you know, kind of my rule of thumb, do it until he doesn't suck at doing it. What I mean is, he shouldn't be any harder to move right here than it is to turn the steering wheel in your truck. If you feel any weight, turning his head shouldn't be any heavier than me picking up these reins. There we go. There we go. Very nice, buddy. Look at how many reps I get at this one. I find something that he needs a little help at. So in this case, it's him trotting around and giving his face to the right. Look at how many times I find his face, pull him here, release him. Find his face, pull him a little off center, release him. This is how you soften a horse, guys. This is how you get a horse where they don't want to pull on the reins. If every time he pulls on the reins, he gets flexed around, if every time he looks outside of the fence, he gets bent to the inside, very quickly, he's not going to want to look outside the fence. And if you stick to this approach, whenever you have a resistant horse, a problem horse, instead of trying to use your power to soften them, if you'll use your persistence, there we go, and hook. For that stop there, I'm waiting for, there we go, I'm waiting for him to come off the bridle. All right, guys, so if you have that resistant horse that likes to do things, run off with you, buck with you, rear with you, control the head, control the horse. If we can get him to simply flex to each side, there you go, you saw him want to pick his head up. Right there, you see that heaviness? Flex to each side. Right there, he's sticky to that right side. So I'm just gonna, there we go. So this, after all the flexing we've done, should be super easy. The fact that he's laying on me lets me know that I need to keep working. There we go. Try it one more time, there we go. By the time that I pick up this rein, his head should already be melting this way. Notice how he's keeping his chin down and head down, which I like, but he's too heavy, switching. There we go. Between that flexing, backing him up crooked, like so, locking one hand in here, backing him up like this, and disengaging his hindquarter by sliding your hand down the rein and moving his butt, and just putting this stuff on repeat until the horse does it softly and efficiently, that's really gonna break down your horse. I'm telling you, you're gonna have a completely different horse that you're riding. Instead of riding around thinking, uh-oh, I wonder when he's gonna buck or do something bad. If he is butter soft in the face, you're not gonna have that feeling because you're gonna feel like you're in full control. Try that out on your resistance horse at home and let me know how it goes. Send us a message, send us a comment. Let me know how you tried on your horse. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.